Hello, today we are going through the Unit 9 Polygon Similarity Test Review. There are, how many questions? 38 questions, so let's get started. Number 1, what postulate can be used to prove triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEC? Well, in the middle we have these vertical angles, so these are going to be congruent. And then we also see that these two lines are parallel, so if we have parallel lines cut by a transversal right here, we know that the alternate interior angles are congruent. Now, as you see, angle ACB and angle ECD are congruent, and angle A is congruent to angle D. Therefore, these are congruent by the AA postulate, or angle-angle postulate, because angle ACB is congruent to angle ECD, and angle A is congruent to angle D. Alright, what postulate can be used to prove the figures below are similar? Justify your answer. We're given the sides, so one of our postulates is side, 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 so we need three sides that are proportional. So if I do 4 over 12, that should be equal to 4 over 12, which should be equal to 7 over 21. If we reduce those, we get 1/3 is equal to 1/3 and 1/3. Therefore, they are all three proportional, and they are similar by side, side, side. Number 3, what is the value of x? Well, given that angle A is congruent to angle D and angle C is congruent to angle F, we know that these are similar triangles, therefore we can set up a proportion. So I'm going to do 24 corresponds with 16, and 21 corresponds with x. So I can do 24 over 16 equals 21 over x. Cross multiply. 24x equals 336, and x equals 14. Divide by 24, x equals 14. Number 4, quadrilateral ABCD is similar to quadrilateral EFGH. Fill in the blank. AD over HE equals DC over HG. Those are corresponding sides. And angle B must be congruent to angle F. Solve for x. Again, we see that this angle is congruent to that angle D is congruent to angle A, so we know that they're similar by AA. So I can set up a proportion. 1.25 is similar, or corresponds with x, and 1.5 corresponds with 180. So if I set up my proportions, 1.25 over x equals 1.5 over 180. Cross multiply. So you cross multiply and you get 225 equals 1.5x. Divide by 1.5 and x equals 150. Next, TA is equal to x minus 1. AB, this whole side, is 2x. TS is 2. And CB is 8. We need to solve for x. In this particular instance, AT is going to correspond with 2x because it's in between A and the right angle. 2x is in between A and the right angle. And then 2 corresponds with 8. So if we set up our proportion, it is 2 over 8 equals x minus 1 over 2x. Cross multiply, 4x equals 8x minus 8. Do some math, and x equals 2. Number 7. Angle A is 2x plus 10. Angle F is 25. Angle B is 3x. What is the measurement of angle A? Well, to find the measurement of angle A, we need to solve for x. A is congruent to D, so this is also 2x plus 10. F is congruent to C, so this is also 25, and B is congruent to E, so this is also 3x. So using what we know about triangles, this triangle, if we add up all three angles, it equals 180. So it will simply be 2x plus 10 plus 3x plus 25 equals 180. Then we just need to solve this algebraically, and x equals 29. Below are two similar figures. Find x. So these are oriented correctly, so 16 corresponds with 8, and 2x minus 6 corresponds with 6. So if we set up our proportion, 16 over 8 equals 2x minus 6 over 8. Cross multiply, solve for x, and x equals 9. Number 9. AC equals 18. EF equals 144. The perimeter of ABC is 36. We need to find the perimeter of EFG. To be able to find the perimeter, all we have to know is the scale factor. How do we get from 18 to 144? And then we can just multiply the perimeter by that scale factor. So if we do 144, the image divided by 18, we get a scale factor of 8. So if we take our perimeter, 36, multiply by 8, the perimeter of triangle EGF is 288. Number 10, AD is 4, AE is 8, DB is 11. What is the measurement of EC? This is just a simple proportion. 4 over 11 equals 8 over x. We're just making sure to set up the same ratios. We cross multiply. 4x equals 88. X equals 22. 11. YB is 20. Solve for x. Well, x is this whole side, and 17 is just this piece. So we have this piece 20, but we also need this whole side, y to v, which is 20 plus 22, so 42. Now we can set up our proportions. We get 17 corresponds with x, and 20 corresponds with 42. So 17 over x equals 20 over 42. Cross multiply. 748 equals 20x, and x equals 37.4. 12. ABCDE is similar to PQRST. AB is 2, BC is 3, CD is 4, ED is 5, EA is 4. PQ is 2 plus x. QR is 12, RS is 16, ST is 20, and TP is 16. Solve for x. It's just a simple proportion. They're just more measurements. So 2 is going to correspond with 2 plus x. 3 corresponds with 12. So I simply set up my proportion using those. 2 over 2 plus x equals 3 over 12. Cross multiply, solve for x, and x equals 6. Number 12. What must be true to prove triangle RQS is similar to triangle UTV? Using postulate AA. Postulate AA, we need two sets or two pairs of congruent angles. So if angle S is congruent to angle V, and angle Q is congruent to angle T, these triangles would be similar. A tree is 30 meters away from point A. A person is standing 3 meters away from point A who is 2 meters tall. Using this information, what is the height of the tree? So we have our person right here. The distance away from A to the tree is 30. These are simply just two triangles just like we've seen before. So this side is 3 and this is 2. The tree is x. So 2 corresponds with x and 3 corresponds with 30. So we just set up a proportion. 3 over 30 equals 2 over x. Cross multiply, 3x equals 60, x equals 20. 14. Triangle RQS is similar to triangle FEG. The measurement of angle F is 25 degrees. The measurement of angle S is 87 degrees. The measurement of angle Q is what we want to find out. Well, if these are similar, we know that the angles are congruent. And R must be congruent to F. So R must be congruent to F, which means R is 25 degrees as well. Now if you look at this triangle, we have 2 out of 3. We can solve for the third one simply by doing 180 minus 25 and 87. And you get the measure of angle Q equals 68 degrees. DE is parallel to BC. Find the measure of EC. If you know that these are parallel, we know that these are similar triangles. So EC is going to be x, and we can set up a proportion. 4 is going to correspond with 2, 5, and x. So we go 5 over x equals 4 over 2. Cross multiply, 10 equals 4x, and x equals 2.5. AM is 7. Solve for y. It's the same exact thing as problem 15. Y and 11, 14, and 7. Y over 11 equals 14 over 7. Cross multiply, 7y equals 154. Y equals 22. 17. BE equals x plus 2. ED equals 3x. AE equals 2. EC equals 3. Solve for x. We know that these are similar triangles because these angles are also congruent. So by AA, these two triangles are similar. 2 is going to correspond with 3 because they're both next to this one, which means x plus 2 corresponds with 3x, and we can set up our proportion. So we get 2 over 3 equals x plus 2 over 3x. Cross multiply. 6x equals 3x plus 6. Solve it out, and x equals 2. 18. ED is parallel to BC. AE, or EA, is x. AC is 12. DA is 3x plus 1, and AB is 72. We're solving for x again. We just need to set up a proportion. If we know that these are parallel, we know that alternate interior angles are congruent, so angle C is congruent to angle E, which means that 12 and x correspond, and 3x plus 1 corresponds with 72, and we can set up our proportion. X over 12 equals 3x plus 1 over 72. Cross multiply, 72x equals 36x plus 12. Solve for x, and it equals 1/3, or 0.3333. Continued. What is the similarity statement for the figure below? Similarity statement just means triangle 1 is similar to triangle 2. So we need to name our first triangle, triangle A, B, C, and it's going to be similar to triangle A corresponds with E, C corresponds with, B corresponds with D, and C corresponds with itself. What is the measurement of angle F? Well, because it says that these two angles are congruent, we know that they are similar triangles, which means all the angles are congruent. So if A is 15, D is also 15, B is 77, which means E is 77. Now we can just simply subtract from 180 and get the measure of angle F. And it equals 88 degrees.